Here, some of the local color. I didn't realize it was so close to Trastevere, but there's the Palatine there, which means that the Colosseum should be right over to the left of that tower area and the Forum. Once you walk around Rome for a while, you realize how close everything really is. Remains of an older bridge. There's a small but pretty little church that I discovered just wandering around back here. Apparently it's Casa di Riposo, Francesca Romana. I think the sun is supposed to be on my left when I'm coming away from the Tiber. First thing I do see is McDonald's. McDonald's are stuck in all little kinds of little places, innocuous looking in this country. Oftentimes there are signs for blocks around giving you an idea of where the next McDonald's can be found. It's interesting to see the different designs of bridges that are used in Rome. Lovely day just to be cruising about. Which is something I enjoy a lot. I'm just going to wander till I get tired, kind of get a feel where I am. I'm bound to see some landmark I've crossed in the past, I think. Parked on top of what looks like just an apartment building. Apparently this dome belongs to a little church alongside the Tiber and a very busy road. Interesting little bug of a car. Genevieve. Apparently another one. Here's some kind of monument to somebody. A little tribute, who knows what. I'm going to try and get this vehicle into here. I would say it's not possible. Just found another spot she's going to sneak in with while she talks on her cell phone. Now here's the one way she could have done it, as this smart car has. I don't recognize that large tunnel or that road going up that slope, but that's one of the other hills of Rome. I know where I am. There's Castello Angelo. I think it was Hadrian's mausoleum. And then to the left, I think, up there somewhere is the Vatican. These statues before we cross over, and there in the background is the Vatican. This was the bridge that one of the popes had built to give him access from this side of the river, or some place where he hung out, to this, which became a castle fort, if you will, for the popes. And they also had some kind of viaduct, which I think I saw. It's a higher road over there. They're remodeling. I think we can see it right through those trees there. Right through there. That the Pope used to get from the Vatican to here. Only the three middle arches are original. The other two were replaced when they had to modify to accommodate the apparently higher sides of the river. I think these boats, which the other day were threatening both themselves and the bridge, because they were tied right up against the bridge with a lot of debris building up against it, have obviously been removed, and they're now in the process of getting rid of this other debris that's collecting. They don't seem to have the really heavy equipment that we would use. Maybe they just don't have a need for it in the tight confines of most of the context of roads that they have to work in. Having a hard time getting a halfway decent bite. My guess is that some of this debris represents part of at least the wrecked portion of the upper part of a boat. This big boat now more securely tied off against big trees on either side of the river. He's not going to get that up. The river's down from where it was the other day. I'm guessing that those lights are situated on the dock, so it's probably a couple of feet still above the dock itself. I ordered coffee, but I didn't know what kind. He asked me, I just said, I don't care. So he gave me this little thing. So this little cup is half filled with something that must be dynamite, plus whatever this little pastry is I ordered. And some water. First time I've ever received water here free. There's the Vatican looking down on me from the right, and I'm not sure if that's Napoleon or not. But anyway, this is a large, busy intersection that I'm at. This coffee, very little of it, but very potent, very bitter. So you take just enough to wet the inside of your mouth, and that seems to be enough. Prettiest day probably since I've been here. This looks like it'd be a nice little place to live if you were going to live here for a while for some reason. You had to live in the city, at least. Out of a near vacant railroad station at 5:52.